Peace and love, family. Peace and love. Listen, straight like this. You're not going to drag a decorated veteran that was in the inside. You will never drag somebody like that. Never. At all. I'm going to stand with Joe Kent, and it is what it is. I'm going to stand with Joe Kent and his family. Dragging that man who did 11 tours ain't cool at all. At all. That's very, very disrespectful. And that should tell you how people are so cultish where you're going to drag somebody that gave it all up for what we have here today. And it ain't happening at all. But we're going to get into it. We're going to get into it. Okay. Now, this is Joe Kent, wife, and give her honor and give him honors for him making the ultimate sacrifice and her making the ultimate sacrifice for this country. We're not about to play them games. That's what we're not about to do. I'm going to believe somebody that was in the inside, that served this country, and went to the extremes, gave up the ultimate extreme for you to have your freedoms. And while what I won't allow is for people to drag somebody like that. That's what you don't do. Because that man, he's seen and done more things than anybody that dragged him or is going to try to drag him. Okay? That is not happening. That is not happening. To drag that man after what he has done and what his wife has done for this country, I don't think so. I don't think so. Not at all. Not at all. Honors to him and his wife and his family for giving the ultimate sacrifice for his service to his country and his countrymen and women, and his wife for her service for the country and the countrymen and women of this country. It is not going down like that. You is not about to drag them like that. I don't care who you is, what power you have, you're not going to know. Very dedicated service member. And to me, it ain't going down like that. You're just not going to drag them like that. He gave the ultimate sacrifice. As you can see him with his wife and all that, his family, he got kids. Don't do that. No. Now let's get into what Trump got to say about Joe Kent resigning. I'm watching this in real time just like y'all. All right? So let's see. Hold on. Let me grab my headset.
Mr. President, your Director of National Counterterrorism, Joe Kent, he just resigned today. He said he can't support your conflict with Iran. What's your reaction to that? And did you?
Well, I read his statement. I always thought he was a nice guy, but I always thought he was weak on security, very weak on security. I didn't know him well, but I thought...
Weak how? How was he weak? That man gave the ultimate sacrifice, 11 tours. That's how you talk about the man? Have you ever served, Mr. President? Because I don't think you did. You avoided the draft, didn't you? But you're going to call that man weak. He gave the ultimate sacrifice and did 11 tours. His wife gave the ultimate sacrifice and gave her life for this country. And that's the thanks that he get. Boy, if you don't... him, Johnson, I'm going to believe Joe Kent. That's who I'm going to believe. That's who I'm going to respect and honor. Okay? I don't care how y'all feel about it or whatever. Nah, you're not going to drag. That's not going down.
He seemed like a pretty nice guy. But when I read his statement, I realized that it's a good thing that he's out, because he said that Iran was not a threat. Iran was a threat. Every country realized what a threat Iran was. The question is whether or not they wanted to do something about it. And many people, many of the greatest military scholars are saying for years that presidents should have taken out Iran because they wanted a nuclear weapon. They were...
18 agencies told you that they wasn't. Am I going to believe you? Or am I going to believe Joe Kent? That's the $1 million question. Am I going to believe you or Mike Johnson or Joe Kent? I think I'm going to believe Joe Kent over both of y'all, because he gave the ultimate sacrifice, unlike you and Mike Johnson.
If we didn't do the attack, or if, I'll go a step further, if I didn't terminate the Iran nuclear deal given to us, one of the worst deals ever made by Barack Hussein Obama. Remember when they sent Boeing 757s over there, loaded with cash? Hundreds of millions of dollars. You would have been very happy. This was a wonderful, they sent hundreds of millions. People forget that. Does anybody remember? Right? You remember. Hundreds of millions of dollars in a Boeing 757. I think there are two of them.
Where's the proof of it? Let me tell you what Barack, and I'm not even a fan of Barack Obama. But let me tell you something about Barack Obama. He did mass deportations better than you without all the controversy. That's a fact. Let me tell you something else about Barack Obama. He dropped bombs without us even going to war and took care of that situation. Even though I don't agree with it. But he did that better than you too. And I don't even like Barack Obama. He did the Iran deal through peace, through talks, and cut a deal for them to enrich for medical purposes. But you're not going to say that. He did that better than you too. So far, Barack Obama seemed like he did way better than you. And I don't even like Obama, because some of the policies that he passed. Yeah, Benghazi and all that with the Clintons.
Loaded, they took the seats out and they put cash. And it was so much that there wasn't a bank in Virginia, Maryland, or D.C. that had any money left. They stripped them of all their money, put it into place, sent it to Iran.
What that got to do with Joe Kent, Mr. President? What that got to do with him? Resigning and saying what he said. That's the question, not everything else.
Almost as ransom. That's not going to happen with Trump. And nobody ever did anything about it. Nobody ever said anything about it. Can you imagine if I did that? So they've been a threat for a long time. But they've really been a threat. If I didn't terminate Obama's horrible deal that he made, the Iran nuclear deal, you would have had a nuclear war 4 years ago.
You have been saying that for the past 30 years. Ain't none of that happened. None of that. For the past 30 years, 2 to 4 weeks, they're going to have this. 2 to 4 weeks, they're going to have that. For the past 30 years, y'all been saying that. But you're going to call a man that did 11 tours and lost his wife in combat weak? Wow. Wow.
You would have had nuclear holocaust, and you would have had it again if we didn't bomb the site. So when somebody is working with us that says they didn't think Iran was a threat, we don't want those people, because, and there are some people, I guess I would say that, but they're not smart people or they're not savvy people. Iran was a tremendous threat. And virtually every NATO nation, and this is the thing, if they told me it wasn't a threat, and therefore they don't want to help, but when they say it was a threat, and it was a major threat, Every one of them. I think every one of them. I don't know of one that said they're not a threat, but when they say it was a threat, but we're not going to help, I think they're very foolish.
Well, first of all, it's because they didn't think it was a real threat. That's why they're not helping you. Two, if it was such a threat, why they ain't go after the GCC? Why the GCC ain't do nothing? Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar. Because it wasn't a real threat. That's why. But for you to call a person that did 11 tours, gave up the ultimate sacrifice, weak. I don't know, man. I don't know what that says about you as a president. 11 tours. His wife gave the ultimate sacrifice also. Honor the vets. Honor the soldiers. This is like the most disrespectful thing I've ever seen. Peace and love. I'll catch you on the next one. I'm going to believe Joe Kent. Whatever he says, I'm going to believe it because it is what it is. I'll catch you on the next one.